I must have been around 12 or 13 when I finally got my own room. And of course, immediately I started moving furniture around, decorating the way I wanted it to be done. And of course, I also put the sign on the door. I didn't dare do the keep out sign. I don't think my mother would have allowed that, but I did the Maxine's room sign and beautifully decorated and put it on the door, hoping that the family would understand that that space was mine. And you came in and went out because I allowed it. Meant nothing to my mother, who breezed in and breezed out without a knock. It meant nothing to the brothers. The good thing about the brothers is that, unlike my mother, who you didn't hear the approach, they came like an invading army with bugle and fife and drums. So I had enough time to hide whatever it was I wanted to hide from them and to do whatever I need to do so that I was ready when they came through that closed door. And I would imagine that if you did not put a sign on your door, you know someone who did. Maybe your children, whether misspelled signs with cute messages or wonderful pictures. People love, even at a young age, to claim their private space to make it secure for whatever it is they want to do. But we lock or close doors for other reasons too. We need that space, maybe for privacy, to fume, to grieve, to pout, to do whatever. We need that space for a sense of security, to lock out maybe not just people, but the things that oppress and cause us anxiety. We need that quiet space to retreat and just restore ourselves and to do the things that we want to do. We close and lock doors. And that's exactly where we find the disciples in our gospel reading this morning, behind closed doors, from fear. They had reason to be afraid. They had watched this past week as they moved from Jesus' triumphant entry to the Last Supper, to the garden, to the arrest, to his crucifixion, and his quick burial. They had reason to think that they too might be in danger. And even though they had heard that Easter morning, that first Easter morning, the story from the women, that he was not in the tomb, and that angels or men had told them that he was risen, that he could not be found there, they still had reason to be afraid, because there were rumors that the body had been stolen, and perhaps they would be arrested for having stolen Jesus' body. So despite the good news, the probable news, the unbelievable news of the resurrection, they were still afraid, and they huddled in that upper room behind the closed doors, closed and locked doors. But doors and walls cannot keep Jesus out. And it doesn't matter who is within those closed doors. It was Thomas who doubted and wanted evidence. Peter who had denied. Many of those disciples had run away. And there they were, and Jesus in their midst brings some news that would lift their spirits. Peace be with you, Jesus says. Peace Not peace, the opposite of war, but the peace that would still fearful hearts, the peace that would remove your anxieties, the peace of knowing not just Jesus' presence, but that Jesus will continue to be among them, walking with them, strengthening them, comforting them, directing them. Peace be with you. John, who wrote that gospel, wrote it for a community who lived in fear as well. The early Christians often huddled behind closed doors to worship, to sing praises to God, to break bread together, because they feared not just the Jewish authorities, but the Roman authorities as well. They lived in fear. They closed doors. They needed to hear that those doors did not lock out Jesus, that Jesus was in their midst, saying a word, peace be with you. You know, we have our anxieties as well. We have our fears, our doubts, and we sometimes deny. But the world outside builds up and in many ways bring a lot of anxiety into our life, and we want to stay behind closed doors. We want to not just close our doors, but close our ears, close our eyes, maybe even close our hands. But we cannot close out Jesus. Jesus wants to be in our midst. Jesus wants us not only to see that he is in our midst, but to hear the word of peace. Peace be with you. For us to lift our spirits and open to the possibilities because we have heard that word of peace. We say it each Sunday at our service as we pass the peace, because when we accept that peace from Jesus, we are also sent to share it. In that broken world out there where so many people doubt and deny and fear and live in anxiety, we share that peace. May we, as we take that message this morning, and as we are sent out of this place through those doors, may we know and take the word of peace with us. Peace.